What's the deal? So we back again tonight because some of y'all need to hear this. So I'm delivering this specific message with intention because the advancing man doesn't wait for permission. He doesn't wait for validation or competition to prove himself. He speaks things into existence and he moves accordingly at all times. You can't keep it real with anyone else until you start keeping it real with yourself. You got to know exactly who you are. So be who you are. We're going to start with the facts because you're not in competition with anyone. You do not compete. You create. And once you understand that, your whole life changes. Competition means you're watching other people, and that ain't in your DNA to be in other people's business like that, or speak on another person's name or their character, or have your hands in another man's cookie jar. We don't move like that. Your main focus should always be on you, to be in alignment with God, constantly improving yourself and creating the life that you want to live. Because creation means you're locked in on your assignment and purpose. As long as your household is good, your relationship is solid, and your spirit is clear, you good as far as God is concerned. And his opinion of you and your life is the only one that matters. So don't ever move from insecurity, comparison to another man, and definitely never move out of the fear that you'll be outdone, because that's not even possible. Be confident and trust your energy. And that's what we're going to get into tonight, because life isn't Disneyland. Life requires you to be on point, equipped, efficient, unapologetic at all times when it comes to how you move and how you think. The science of getting rich defines the advancing man as someone who's bigger than his given situation. He's not stuck in it. He's not defined by it. He's not limited by it. He's bigger than his current situation, and he moves and thinks in a certain way. He can't be restricted by people, places, things, and circumstances, because he's constantly learning and adapting and becoming. And this is where most people miss it. You don't get rich until you learn how to advance, not hustle, not grind. You got to learn how to advance, because advancing means you're constantly outgrowing your current space and expanding internally, while the external world is still trying to keep you at the same level. That tension, that discomfort, that feeling of you don't fit in anymore, that's advancement. And that's where most people fall off, because advancing actually requires you to outgrow people. You got to outgrow places and outgrow versions of yourself that other people got comfortable with along the way. These people, places, and things no longer fit into your life. They no longer feed you. So why force these kind of relationships? You've always been your own man. Don't change that about yourself now, because that's exactly what this level of the game requires of you. You in the big leagues now. Most people will rather stay small to keep the peace with others. They dim their light to keep other people comfortable. They choose to fit in over evolving. But here's the truth: you can't fit in and get rich. You can't please everyone and advance as a man or woman. You can't stay the same size forever and expect different results. The advancing man isn't trying to fit in, he's too busy trying to evolve. And evolution requires space that most people are unwilling to create and give themselves, because they're too paralyzed by fear. Therefore, they remain exactly where they're at. So leave them there, because that level no longer applies to you. Let me say something that might strike a nerve. A lot of good people, they stay broke because they're too nice. Not kind, not generous. They're too nice. Kind is self-respect. Nice is self-betrayal. Nice people avoid conflict at the expense of their own future. They sacrifice their time, energy, and vision to keep others comfortable in their stagnation. They don't set boundaries. They don't say no. They don't do anything to protect their energy. And it's that fear of disappointing other people that keeps them stuck. The advancing man is kind, but he's not necessarily nice. He respects people without belittling himself. He loves people without letting their limitations define his potential. He shows up, but on his own terms where his energy is honored and not drained. Man only resides where he's celebrated, not tolerated. And that's the real shift. If this makes you uncomfortable, good. That means it's time to stop being so nice that you put yourself second and start being intentional. Now, let's talk about something that a lot of people will not admit to. Silent competition is real. A lot of people aren't openly competing with you because they're watching you quietly, studying you, measuring themselves against everything you do, and you ain't even knowing. Not because they want to support you, but because you represent something they want and they don't have it. But what you got to understand is what you got is God given. It can't be duplicated. It's that one of a kind thing that makes you, you, and you're the only one that got it. Your presence alone reminds them of something that they lack in their life. And that tension eventually turns into resentment. You can love them, you can support them, you can help them and show up for them time and time again. But let me tell you something real. Once that resentment takes root in their heart, it's out of your hands. That's when the advancing man has to make a choice. Keep trying to win this person over who you already know resents you, or protect your energy and keep it moving. Most people stay because they fear being disliked or misunderstood. Personally, I've never given a damn about none of that. That ain't never been me. I just recently tried to be liked and failed miserably because that's just not what I do. The advancing man leaves because he understands clarity is more important than another person's approval. You can't advance while dragging other people who are quietly rooting and plotting against you. You ain't stepping on no toes. You minding your business. You ain't bothering nobody, so it is what it is. Here's where things get personal though. My blessings are for me. Let me tell you something. People can position themselves all around my situation all they want. They can study my moves, mirror my energy, try to attach themselves to my momentum and my blessings. But I can't lose what's mine. And if someone fumbled their opportunity to be cool with me, it's not my responsibility to fix it. Too many people hold on to expired connections out of guilt, history, or obligation. And that drains energy. That slows your advancement. That keeps you smaller than you're actually meant to be. The advancing man understands not everyone can go where he's going. And he's at peace with that. Ain't no hate in his heart. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't explain. He doesn't drag people who refuse to grow with him. He just keeps it moving, y'all. Simple. And when people see that you keep it moving and that the show goes on without them, they get offended. They get very, very offended because the wrong people staying too long in your life block the right people from arriving into your life. So be open to letting go of what's old and embrace what's new. The first thing everybody in your past do is click up. Let them. Pay attention to life when you decide to level up. It gets real lonely real quick. And that's okay because that's the only confirmation you really need. You've been standing on all 10. This ain't nothing new. You ain't never needed backup or asked anybody for help. You accustomed to moving solo and handling and standing on business. But here's something I really, really need you to hear. You don't have an obligation to shortchange yourself so other people can feel good about themselves or be comfortable. You don't owe anyone anything. You know you solid. You know you show up when it counts, you know your heart is genuine inside and out. You know you ain't got the ability to be fake. That's the only reason it hurts you when people fail you, because you know how loyal you are when it comes to the ones you care about. But check this out. It's time for you to start telling yourself you're too big on being there for other people in their time of need to accept people disappearing on you in your time of need. You might be in a dark place and just need to chop it up with somebody. But when you find yourself by yourself, it changes you. So people can't get mad when you put yourself first and become selective with your time and with your energy. You have to put everything into what's making your life work. You got to put all your energy, space, and time into you now. That's not bitterness. That's growth. Because as big as your heart is, self-preservation is everything. The advancing man doesn't hold grudges, but he does pay attention to patterns. If you only show up when it's convenient, I got the right to protect my peace when it's not convenient. If you can't celebrate my wins, I'm not about to dim my light for you or nobody else. I don't live for you to be comfortable. If you're in silent competition, I'm going to create distance so you can focus on your lane and not on mine. This is not cutting people off. This is cutting access, because you can never make me feel any less than I am. The advancing man is strategic and he moves strategic all the time. Always. He separates himself from everyone else. He don't hate anyone. He doesn't dislike anyone. He just don't fuck with you. He observes, he learns, and he stays in his lane. He knows how to mind his business because he's a creator. And a creator can be dropped off anywhere on planet Earth with nothing and still rise from the flames. That's wilderness energy. You can throw the advancing man into the jungle with no protection, no tools, or any advantage. And I promise you, he gonna come back wearing a fur coat, because it takes isolation to discover who you really are and still know that you're safe. Everybody ain't built like that. Some men need the comfort of company. Some need validation. Some need structure. The advancing man don't need none of that. You can put him in any environment by himself. He comes in with nothing, learns everything, and he levels up again and again. That's why competition doesn't move him. Creators don't compete, they generate. Competition means moving in scarcity. Creation will always equate to abundance. And the advancing man would rather be productive than be seen, be accepted, liked, or be loud. When God cuts access to certain people in your life, stop questioning it, because God is your protector and he's never been wrong about anyone he's removed from you. When those doors close, it's not punishment. It may be for your protection. When people leave, that's not betrayal, that's evolution. Nature advances by shedding, and so does the advancing man and the advancing woman. They don't burn bridges, they simply build new ones. They don't move in anger, they move with clarity. And he continues advancing without any explanation to anyone, because that's what the advancing man does. If this message added value to you, support the channel by grabbing me a coffee. The link is down in the description. And every contribution is appreciated, because all we really trying to do is just reach all the men and women we can that's ready to advance. We appreciate all your love and support. And on that note, we gonna end it like we always do. All gas, no brakes. Lock in. Peace.